We are ready.
We're ready?
We are ready.
Okay, here it is. What is the date anyway? The 19th, July. Another 100-degree weather. We're going to call this meeting to order, or is there any additions to the agenda?
There are no additions.
None? Madam Lawyer, will you read in the closed session items?
That's me, yes, Chairman. The item for closed session is under Government Code Section 54957.6. You have conference with your labor negotiators. And those representatives are your Deputy CAO, Joel Begay, your Interim Human Resources Director, Michelle May, and your Human Resources Manager, Susan Carter. The employer organization is all units. Thank you.
That's it. Any public comment on closed session items? Seeing none, we'll go into closed session.
We are ready. We are ready.
Thank you. Had to get some more notes before I started, so welcome everybody, the 19th, and I hope it's not going to be over 110 today. Is there any reportable action from the closed session?
Chairman, there is no reportable action from your closed session. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to open and close in memory of 3 people in my district. First one is Rusty Carmen, a local Mono tribe member. His dad, my dad were really good friends. And Red, his dad's name is Red, so they called Rusty, his son. And they taught me how to hunt. The first time I ever killed a buck when I was a junior in high school, I was with his dad and his uncle, Mel Carmen. So, great kid. I call him a kid because he's younger than me, but he's still pretty old. And Susie Pardun, been up there. Her OV, her husband, died a few years ago, but she's owned a lot of apartments and stuff up there in Oakhurst, and she passed away last week. And then one of the favorites that I was going to talk about today is Joanne Royce Griffin. She was a Norfolk teacher, taught all of my kids, from first wife and second wife, so had a few of them in there. And her husband, Mr. Royce, was a principal there, but he had a heart attack and died pretty young, so she got married again. Her last name was Griffin, so in memory of them, open and close this meeting. Anybody else?
Yes, I learned yesterday of the passing of Cheryl Riley, who was, she worked for the county at one point, and a 60-year friend of mine, 62 years, she knew me my whole life, I've known her. In fact, her and my mother grew up together, so she just passed away this last week. She worked for Department of Social Services for years as an investigator, and really appreciated her. She was a very active person, a large family, part of the Shoe family, and so our prayers are with her and her family, and for their peace and condolences.
Thank you. Anybody else? None. Okay. Invocation is going to be by Mike Farmer, the 4th Street Church of God. And Dr. Paul, would you like to lead the flag salute?
Father, we're grateful for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity to gather together. Lord, you've blessed us in so many ways, so many things that we take for granted we're grateful for. Thank you for this land, for this place that you've allowed us to be. Lord, I pray for this meeting this morning, that you would just, your presence would be here. You would guide and direct all the discussion, that everything that goes on will bring glory and honor to your name and to your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Mike, very much, and thank you, Dr. Paul. Okay, number 4.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take any action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record.
Thank you. Anybody? There we go. Hello, buddy.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. Chris Childers, your Chief Probation Officer. I want to announce this week is Probation Services Week, and it's an honor and privilege to be up here to announce that. We are a dedicated bunch of folks who serve both the communities in Madera County as well as statewide. The profession serves the whole state, and we're proud that this week is the week that we get to honor ourselves, and we appreciate your support as a board for our services and supporting our resources to do our job. Our progress and our success is based on commitment to providing community supervision. And again, thank you very much for serving and allow us to serve to the members of the county. I want to say a special thanks to Supervisor Poitras and Supervisor Gonzalez for volunteering your time and mentoring the youth out there at Juvenile Hall. I truly appreciate it, and like I always say, it takes a village to raise a child, and certainly you've been a part of that village, so we greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Any other public comment here? Online? None?
Not
Okay.
online.
Moving on to the consent calendar. Any comments from the board?
I do.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah,
Number.
I'd like to have item N, as in Nancy, pulled for discussion.
Any other? Okay, any public comment on the consent calendar? None? Any online? Okay, if we get a motion to
Move to
approve it
approve.
and pull item
Move to
in.
approve, pull item in.
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Item N.
Yes, some time ago, in fact, last year, Supervisor Gonzalez asked for some accountability on this, this issue, and we have yet to see what this money is actually buying. So I'm still waiting for the accountability on what is happening with this money and these two organizations.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stephanie Nathan, Assistant Public Health Director. Sarah isn't here today, but I'm happy to answer the questions about that. We are planning to come back to the board with a report. So we have put some procedures and practices in place, and I've collected data around how many events they've done, what they've served. Sorry, I have a cough drop in my mouth. So we are prepared to come back to the board with a presentation, and we can provide very specific data on the community-based organizations and exactly what they've done.
Okay. I'm going to suggest to the board that we wait until that presentation to approve this item, because I want to hear what's going on. And I think that it's gone on too long without the accountability information. I appreciate that it's prepared, but I want to hear it before I vote on it.
Yeah, I don't think that will be an issue at all. We have that information prepared, we're ready to present it. And if we delayed the approval of that item, I don't think that would be a concern.
So this will come back probably like next
week.
beginning of August.
Our next meeting.
Do we need a motion to do that? Continue
Yes, we'll
the
have to.
item?
Dr. Paul, you want to talk about this? Oh, okay. Okay. So
I move that we continue item N to a later date.
next week or,
Yeah, next week is fine.
I'll second it.
okay? Any public comment on that? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your 4 around 40.
Thank you. I
Very
like to
proud of
say
you.
under 40.
Very proud of you.
Under 40 for us.
I think it's
over
called
60s
4
on the
around
board,
40
so.
because there's someone that is over 40 that's on it, I think.
Get it right.
And I did.
Okay, discussion item 6A.
6A, presentation by Students Working Against Tobacco Youth Coalition regarding the smoke-free environments.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, so it's not opening. Sorry about that. There we go. Great, thank you. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Alan Gilmore, Program Manager with the Madera County Department of Public Health. And today we wanted to come to you with information about a very successful project that we've been implementing for the last several years, and it's referred to as SWAT, Students Working Against Tobacco. We want to thank Supervisor Gonzalez for inviting us. This slide here depicts the Madera County Department of Public Health's mission, vision, and guiding principles that we utilize as staff as well as community volunteers in all the work that we do in the community. And now what I'd like to do is turn it over to two of our students, Ingris and Nasa, who will continue the presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, I'm Ingris Ortiz Miguel. I'm currently a senior at Matilda Torres High School. First, I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity of allowing us to present. The purpose of today's presentation is to present what our youth coalition is about. As he mentioned, SWAT stands for Students Working Against Tobacco. The coalition is designed for young people in Madera County to raise awareness against the effects of tobacco, work against preventing tobacco use and addiction, especially among youth. Some of the activities we have done so far have been educating peers and our community about tobacco, conducted community research such as park cleanups, surveys, petitions, and have also led town halls and advocated for youth policies. We have been able to accomplish a lot this past year as some of our members have dedicated over 500 hours of service. A few of our highlights have been that we helped pass the smoke-free parks policy in Chowchilla in 2021. Here we are promoting the new policy at Chowchilla's park event last summer. That is a picture of the park signs that were installed, and that is us with Mayor Diana Palmer helping clean the Veterans Park after the policy passed. We recently learned that in Madera, they have updated the park signs and we should see those in place this summer, so we'll be on the lookout for those. The smoke-free park policy passed in Madera in 2019, and we're still working on educating the community. Another highlight from this past year was when we had Senator Ana Caballero join our retreat last summer. She also later invited us to her youth panel. Some of our members had the chance to talk about why they do community service. This was a really engaging experience as we were able to highlight what we were able to do for the community and know that we have her support. I'd like to pass it over to Nasa. Hello, everyone. My name is Nisa Villa. I am an incoming senior at Madera South High School. Thank you again for having us. Another SWAT highlight is when we had a town hall event with Supervisor Leticia Gonzalez called Ice Cream Social last summer. We got to meet with a few residents of the Parksdale community and talk about waste and vaping. And a lot of the kids we encountered in the park already knew how vapes and tobacco looked like and how they were used. So it is important to start education at a young age. It was a great opportunity to not only educate the community about the dangers of tobacco, but to also meet a lot of new people and socialize. Another of our SWAT highlights is the butt hunts and Earth Day cleanup. We did a few butt hunts over the past year. This is where we go to parks in our community and pick up cigarette butts and vapes that were left out in the park. Even though we are seeing a rise in e-cigarettes and vapes, especially among the youth people, the most common type of waste we find are cigarette butts. Earth Day cleanup, we usually go and clean up our parks again to make our earth a much cleaner place. And we truly appreciate when community leaders show support. So thank you, Carla, for showing up to help at our Earth Day cleanup we had a few months ago. Another of our SWAT highlights is the council presentation and state advocacy. More recently, in December, we presented to Madera City Council on where tobacco stores are located in the city of Madera and how close they are to our schools, especially high schools. One of our alumni did a study 2 years ago surveying about 350 teens, and she found out that almost 40% have used vape or tobacco products in the last 30 days. The picture on the right shows our trip to Sacramento. This is where we got the opportunity to talk about the issues of tobacco that we were experiencing in our community of Madera and our own personal experiences in our schools. Now that we've shared a few of our highlights, here's what we're currently working on. We continue to raise awareness about smoke-free parks policies that were passed in Madera and Chowchilla. Our first goal is supporting smoke-free environments, especially in parks in Madera County and multi-unit housing in Madera. These include apartments. Our second goal is reducing youth access to tobacco. We hope to have your support in having smoke-free parks for Community County as well, so that all of our residents can benefit from this. We are currently recruiting members for our upcoming school year. Our target is Madera County High School students, but we even have some alumni that are still involved in our organization. Check out our page at our county website, and our webpage includes a link to the interest form for anyone that wants to join SWAT or wants more information. We want to thank you again for having this and giving this an opportunity to present to you today. Thank you and have a lovely day.
Thank you. Mr. Poitras.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's outstanding, the work that you're engaged in and you know, caring about the community and recognizing the harmful benefits of tobacco. I mean, it's amazing. It's just not lung cancer. I mean, it's heart disease. It's many things that cause issues. So thank you so much. And I was contacted a couple days ago by Sarah Boss about participating in there's going to be a consultant who's going to be asking us questions in regards to an ordinance to potentially prohibit tobacco smoke and so forth, but it was also included cannabis smoke. And so I was wondering if that's something that you're engaged in. You know, is it all types of smoking that goes on? Because it seems like, you know, we're really, you know, gaining momentum in terms of the use of cannabis in this state, but I know it's there's a lot of unknowns about cannabis, and I know it's an annoying for people who don't engage, and I know that the person who is going to be interviewing us, the consultant, it's cannabis is part of it's basically all forms of smoking.
Right. So the work that we're doing in terms of reaching out to all the supervisors to have conversations with you, is really kind of exploratory in terms of just getting your thoughts and your opinions in terms of what we can continue to do to protect residents who are non-smokers and living in multi-unit housing so they're not exposed to secondhand smoke, whether it be cannabis or tobacco smoke. We don't have a lot of answers right now about how to implement that. I think every single county in the state is struggling with that particular issue and how to manage those kinds of things. But we're wanting to take some initial steps and taking a look at what might be possible and then proceed from there.
Very good. Yeah, it seems like, cannabis is getting all the headlines, and, City of Madera is looking at issuing about 8 licenses here soon. And so it's looked at as this real positive thing, but I think we also need to consider that there are negative aspects, when we think about secondhand smoke, just like tobacco, so just wanted to throw that out there.
Right, because we want to protect the residents who are not smokers, right, from exposure to secondhand smoke and particularly the illnesses that can result from exposure to that. So,
right. Thank
absolutely.
you.
Yes, just ladies, thank you so much for the presentation. It's always a pleasure working with you, and the future is bright here in Madera County with leaders like yourselves and the folks that you recruit. So thank you so much for all that you do. Really appreciate it.
Yes, and I wanted to say, Alan, I don't know if you recruited those 2 ladies, but you 2 could go to work for right now. I mean, you're in high school, right? Yes. Wow. I mean, you were amazing up there giving this presentation. And like Supervisor Poitras said, Sarah BOS, our director, has got a hold of me too for that thing. I happened to bring it today, so talk about, they're going to interview all of us and see if we want to do an ordinance to help you do this. And
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to that. Just a little history on smoking. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, and my parents and both my brothers did, and it used to kill me. I used to always sit by a window in the back seat because I was the oldest too. And with my window down, whether it's freezing, snowing, or whatever, so I could breathe fresh air because it drove me crazy. And if people want to smoke, I mean, they did their whole lives. I put a no smoking sign on my door of my house when my last daughter was born, Amanda, and my stepdad, Frank Shepard, he smoked every minute, and he'd always come to my house smoke, so I put that up there, and they quit coming to my house. So. But that's okay with me because I couldn't stand it. So thank you. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much. That's
great.
And you ladies, you got a great future, man. Alan did good recruiting you, or you recruited him. I don't know which. But thank you so much.
And if I can just close with, I know that we historically have been having conversations about smoke-free parks in the unincorporated areas, and we're very much interested in coming back and having more conversations with you regarding that. So,
Rob, probably wouldn't hurt to have them part of this thing that we're going to have to do, right?
Right.
We could certainly include that as part of the conversation that our consultant will do.
We'll
Certainly.
suggest that.
Okay, very good. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Anyone from the public want to comment on that? Seeing nobody jumping up. Item 6B.
6B, presentation of the 2022 semi-annual Madera County Awards of Excellence for the first half of 2022.
Thank you. This is something we all look forward to, and it's to honor some of our employees. Every employee we got is great. There's just a little bit more that deserves these kind of things. So let's see. You're going to start out, Bob?
Yeah.
You got all the plaques ready? And this is Battalion Chief Justin McComb, and we'll be presenting this award for the Public Safety Captain James Kirkman, Madera County Fire, Nick Parker, Fire Apparatus Engineer, Madera County Fire, Deputy Eric Jackson, Madera County Sheriff's Department. It's all yours.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll give you a recap of the chain of events that happened on January 31st, 2022. So Madera County Fire Engine number 9, staffed with Fire Captain James Kirkman and Fire Apparatus Engineer Nick Parker, were returning to the Rolling Hills area after routine training. While traveling southbound on Road 36 in Madera Ranchos, a civilian vehicle traveling eastbound on Avenue 13 and a half ran a stop sign and struck the engine. The impact occurred below the passenger front door where Kirkman was sitting. The engine operator was unable to maintain control of the fire engine. Subsequently, the fire engine lost control and rolled onto the driver's side, coming to rest in a vacant field next to a residence. After the fire engine came to rest, both Kirkman and Parker worked on extricating themselves from the engine. Kirkman was suspended in the air, restrained by his seatbelt. They worked together to release Kirkman's seatbelt, and he fell onto Parker below. Kirkman was able to locate the engine radio and call in the accident to the local dispatch center. Prior to the accident, a Madera County Sheriff's K-9 deputy, Eric Jackson, was traveling behind the fire engine and witnessed the accident. Deputy Jackson assisted Kirkman and Parker with breaking out the front window of the fire engine and assisting them out. Once extricated from the fire engine, Kirkman, Parker, and Deputy Jackson went and began to render aid to the civilian vehicle. The occupant was pinned in and needing the jaws of life to free him from the vehicle. Kirkman, who sustained a dislocated shoulder, and Parker came up with a plan and retrieved the jaws of life from the crashed fire engine. Kirkman, Parker, and Jackson were able to free the civilian from the vehicle. The civilian was transported via helicopter to an area hospital. Kirkman and Parker went to the hospital via ambulance. Fire Captain Kirkman, Fire Apparatus Engineer Nick Parker, and Deputy Eric Jackson all showed tremendous courage and selflessness that day. And they are here with their families as well.
We got plaques for you, and what I'd like to do, if you want to come up and we'll get your plaques, but don't leave. When we get all done with this, I'd like to get a picture of everybody up here with the board. If that's okay? Okay. Bobby, you want to get the three for them? What, the plaques? Huh?
Do we go down too?
Well, let's just do it one at a time now, and then we'll do it all at once when we go down. Perfect. So, you guys, yeah, okay, James Kirkman? That's it, get a picture. Hey, Bobby, get a picture, Mr. Kirkman. She's getting the picture. Okay, Nick Parker and Eric Jackson.
Good balance.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, 3, 4, 5 now. We'll get some more when it's all done with the board, if you guys don't mind.
You know, sorry.
Go ahead. I'm
So when
sorry.
I first heard this, and so James and I actually played football together, and there's no one I'd rather have pulling me out of a car than James. I know he would do anything, but this just goes to show how dedicated our the men and women of our public safety are. Is even when someone comes, how mad would anybody in this room be if someone ran into their car and knocked it over? And but even after that, they put in an immense amount of pain after a huge vehicle accident, still going in to save the person that just did that. Just goes to show how amazing this incident was, and just really appreciate you all and what you do for our community, and putting others before yourself, even when you had every right to be pretty upset at the person that you were saving. So thank you very much.
Okay. Next, we're going to do Assistant Director of Public Health, Stephanie Nathan. We're presenting the award for Health and Human Services to Min Malwin, Epidermist, Public Health. I think I got that half right.
Good morning. I get the pleasure of sharing with you just a little bit about Min Nguyen and how she truly embodies a culture of excellence in the mission of Madera County. So Min is the Public Health Department's only permanent epidemiologist. And epidemiologists are really the unsung heroes of public health. They're often called the disease detectives, responsible for research and analyzing data and disease monitoring. So during COVID-19, the Public Health Department truly relied on Min's expertise. She was responsible for minimizing outbreaks, and she is also the co-creator of our vaccine and case dashboard, which ended up winning a national award. Min has recently been recognized as excellent in her work by her peers and by the California Department of Public Health. She is responsible for developing a school outbreak response protocol, which the California Department of Public Health asked her to share with other county departments. She was asked to present on a statewide call, and her protocol was used as a model and example shared with counties statewide on how to do outbreak investigations. Something else that I think is really cool to share about Min is that she actually worked as an extra help employee for Madera County in 2016 as a communicable disease investigator. She decided to pursue higher education and ended up going to Johns Hopkins University, which is the #1 public health university in the nation. And she received her degree in epidemiological and biostatistical methods just in time for COVID-19 to strike. And she could have gone anywhere with that degree from Johns Hopkins University, but she actually proactively reached out to Madera County and asked, do we have an epidemiology position available? And we happened to have one open at the time. Lucky for us, she came right in time for COVID and has helped lead us through the pandemic. So we appreciate Min for her loyalty, for her skills, and for her expertise, and we're excited to recognize her as excellent in her work.
Come on up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And
Thank you.
I'm truly honored to be able to get this award. And first of all, I would like to thank the chairman and member of the board for allowing me this opportunity. But no excellent employee is able to do it without the strong leadership. So for that, I would like to thank my supervisor, Assistant Director Stephanie Nathan, our director, Sarah BOS, and our public health officer, Dr. Simon Paul, for this opportunity. They had shown me great amount of support and trust me enough to give me the freedom and flexibility to be able to excel professionally. So for that, I would like to say thank you. And as an epidemiologist whose main job basically is to monitor the health status of Madera County, I would try my best to continue to be the voice for the vulnerable population in Madera County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Min, for calling Madera County and coming to work for us. We really appreciate it. 'Cause we know we are the best county to work, live, and play in, right? Thank you. Okay. Deputy CAO Joey Begay will be presenting an award for general government services to Jessica Leon, administrative analyst and administrative services. Come on, Joel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. Mr. Chairman, today I have the pleasure of introducing Jessica Leon, Senior Administrative Analyst for the County Administrative Office. Jessica started her career with the county as an analyst for the Department of Social Services in 2018, and shortly after that, became an analyst for county administration in February of 2019. Over the past 3.5 years, she has continuously challenged herself by taking on new and different roles, in addition to her daily work as the budget analyst. During COVID-19, she was instrumental in standing up various pandemic economic assistance-related programs, which came with very little guidance or structure from the state or federal government. She coordinated with the various departments of the county, as well as outside agencies, in ensuring that the economic assistance the community needed during this time got out in a timely and efficient manner. It is this willingness and ability to adapt and develop new programs that has earned her this nomination for the Chairman's Culture of Excellence Award. And on behalf of the entire administrative team, we are thankful to her for her hard work and are thankful to the Chairman for allowing this small token of recognition of her dedication to public service.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thank you for this recognition. It truly does mean a lot. It continues, of course, to push us to do better, to continue to be here. But just want to thank Joel as well. Great leadership. I continue to learn something from him every day. He's amazing. And Jay as well. He has, just his passion, his leadership skills. It does trickle down to, to those of us working on the daily, and just thank you for, allowing me this opportunity and to be here.
Thank you so much. Don't forget, you can't go no place. We got to take a picture afterwards. Director of Community and Economic Development, Jamie Bax, will be presenting an award for development services to Wally Nishimoto, Business Systems Analyst, Community and Economic Development and Planning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jamie Bax with Community and Economic Development. So Wally is great. Wally, he was hired to oversee our permit tracking system. And since then, he helps with everything. He's become our resident GIS expert. He helps with planning commission meetings, setting up for hearings, not just planning commission meetings, LAFCO as well. And he is just an all-around great guy and great with the community. And, he's the person that we can go to really for anything, and never a complaint, stays late every day. And, we have gone from printing maps for our public hearings to having everything electronically and digital and over the web, and we couldn't have done that without Wally. So we're very appreciative of him, and we're glad he's with us.
Us too. Can't pick it up.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors, thank you very much for the honor. Director Bax and Chief of Services, Matt Trieber. It's been an honor to serve the county as a born and raised Madeiran. After the closing of our business, I ran into one of my college professors, and he would say, what are you going to do now? And I said, I'm thinking about working for the county. And he said, that would be one of the best things you can do if you're able to serve your community. And it has truly been an honor to, working with the Community Economic Development team has been it has strengthened my confidence in our local government.
Perfect. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Matt. Thank you for your service, buddy.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to mention that, it's really good that Wally's getting this award, but it also means a big fine for him. He's a long-term member of the Evening Lions Club, and so when they learn about this, I don't know how big of a check. Kathy, you ready for the checkbook to write it out there? So, but congratulations and for all the work, not only here at the county, but also at Evening Lions.
Oh, thank you.
Our great Sheriff Poe just got reelected, so he's going to be with us for 4 more years for sure. Local grown kid and doing a great job. We'll be presenting the award for public safety to Deputy William Vanderpool, Sergeant Matthew Coots, Department Jonas Graves, Deputy Jonas Graves, Deputy Daniel Griever, Deputy Joseph Wood, Deputy Jose Garcia, Madera County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to welcome up Deputy Graves, Griever, Wood, and Garcia. Unfortunately, Deputy Vanderpool and Sergeant Coots are not able to join us today. I'd like to give you a background as to what transpired on March 10th, 2022. The Madera County Sheriff's Office Dispatch Center received multiple 911 calls reporting a shooting on an address on Ingomar Drive. The preliminary information indicated that one female had been shot multiple times. A vehicle involved crashed a short distance away from the shooting scene directly in front of a neighboring residence. The information provided by 911 callers reported that the suspect responsible for the shooting was last seen running behind a residence armed with an assault rifle. Deputy William Vanderpool was the first deputy to arrive on scene. He immediately removed his medical bag from his patrol car and began rendering immediate emergency medical aid to the shooting victim. His initial assessment of the victim confirmed that she had been shot multiple times. He successfully applied his tourniquet and quickly bandaged the other wounds she had sustained in order to slow the bleeding. The wounds sustained, including gunshot wounds to her neck, hand, torso, and thigh. During this time, Sergeant Coots, Deputies Graves, Griever, Wood, and Garcia arrived in the area. Deputy Coots quickly formulated a rescue plan for the injured victim, as well as Deputy Vanderpool, who was still with the victim in the front yard, continuing to render medical aid and protecting her. Sergeant Coots directed Deputy Wood to drive the patrol truck that would be used as a moving shield, as the remainder of the team utilized the truck as cover to safely approach the crashed vehicle. At that time, they didn't know where the suspect was at or if there were other victims in the vehicle. It was possible that there could be other suspects still hiding. He then directed the team to approach Deputy Vanderpool and the injured victim, who was desperately in need of additional medical attention. Upon reaching that victim, Deputy Vanderpool and Sergeant Coots lifted the injured victim into the bed of our truck and quickly removed her from the active scene. She was transported down the road to a waiting ambulance and turned over to paramedics for medical care. Once the rescue of the injured victim was completed, Sergeant Coots, Deputies Graves, Griever, Wood, and Garcia returned to the initial shooting scene to provide containment and tactically coordinate with other additional resources that had arrived. I'm extremely proud of these men and their heroic actions during this intense and fluid incident. Sergeant Coots' tactical experience he gained during his years of the SWAT team was clearly displayed. His ability to quickly formulate, communicate, and execute a tactically sound plan during a time of duress was impressive, to say the least. Deputies Graves, Griever, Wood, and Garcia are all relatively new deputies. However, these young men remained calm, listened, and followed the instructions they were given without hesitation. They focused on the task at hand while communicating and protecting each other. The result was an extreme success. I firmly believe they all had equal roles in accomplishing the goal, which was to remove the injured victim and safely and quickly from a dangerous situation so she could receive that medical care. Deputy Vanderpool's quick thinking and actions most likely saved the victim's life. He did not hesitate. Alone, he quickly contacted that injured victim, examined her injuries, provided her the needed medical attention in order to stop the bleeding. During that time, he was not sure where the armed suspect was at. However, this did not hinder his focus on the victim. In closing, it's my opinion that these men deserve to be formally recognized for their heroic actions. Events like these are what we trained for, but hope we never have to experience. They did not hesitate to perform their sworn duties during a hectic and chaotic situation. The information regarding the location of the armed suspect was not known. However, they willfully placed themselves in a dangerous situation in order to save the life of an injured citizen. It's my sincere honor to honor these gentlemen with the chairman, Deputy William Vanderpool, Sergeant Matthew Coots, Deputy Jonah Graves, Deputy Daniel Griever, Deputy Joseph Wood, Deputy Jose Garcia, and I guess present them on behalf of the chairman with the chairman's award of excellence for the first quarter of 2022, or first half of 2022.
Hey, you guys can't leave yet. We got to get a picture. You can't leave yet. Deputies, would you, any of you like to say anything? If you want to, just go ahead. Nothing? Okay. How about, I didn't ask the CAL FIRE, James, Nick, or Eric, would you guys like to say anything? No? Well, let's all go down and get a... Yeah, I know, I screwed up. Let's go get a picture of everybody. Get over here.
Stand over here.
Yeah. You want to boost you up there?
No.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Jamie?
Jay, you don't want to get the photo?
Yeah. Get everybody in here.
Can you do Jamie's picture?
Oh, we're doing it right now. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get a picture now with Alan and the ladies. What? What's that? Is it something you said? I said 5-minute breaks. Oh. Did everybody hear?
You're going to take a 5-minute break.
One header's doing this, the other header's doing this. Yeah. Okay, we're back in session. We're going to go to 6C real quick and get that done, and we'll go to the public hearing as soon as that's over.
Discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Home Base in the amount of $104,963 for the development of the homeless reduction strategic plan, and authorize the chairman to sign.
Hello,
Jessica.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Jessica Leon, County Administration. So the item before you is an agreement with Homebase for the development of a homelessness reduction strategic plan. On April 1st, 2022, Madera County released RFP number 2022-0401 to seek proposals for professional consulting services in developing a 5-year strategic plan to help reduce homelessness in Madera County, including the unincorporated incorporated cities. On April 22nd, 2022, Madera County received one proposal. It was submitted by Homebase. Homebase is a nonprofit with over 30 years of experience in identifying and analyzing causes of homelessness and developing effective solutions. The proposed schedule for the development of the strategic plan is 38 weeks. With an estimated completion date of April 18, 2023. Staff recommend approval of the agreement with Homebase, and I do have Julie Silas from Homebase and myself available for any questions. She's online.
I believe you're supposed to introduce yourself now as the award-winning Jessica
Yeah,
Leon.
you should have said that, see? To show your excellence. Supervisor Poitras.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this would be a good time to comment on the press conference last week that it was announced that in the Fresno Madera area there'd been a 14% increase in homelessness by the continuum of care. But we need to look at the numbers because they combine the counties.
Oh, that sucks.
They combine the counties because Madera had a 29% reduction in homelessness year over year. 29%, almost a third. Fresno had a 21% increase, so 14% increase overall. It was really Fresno with a 21% increase, Madera with a 29% reduction. Now, I think that'd be a better headline for the press to talk about and really look at the numbers and say, what is Madera doing right and what is Fresno doing wrong? But they just kind of lump it together, and that's the way it is. But I just felt compelled to
Thank you so much.
bring that out. Thank you.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, and to add to those comments, absolutely spot on, Rob. Thank you. I was all over that myself. And to add to those comments, many of the people that come that are homeless in our area are transient. They've come from other counties. They've come from Merced and Fresno. The sheriff has identified that. I've talked with him at length about some of this very issue. We're going to, if we're going to get a handle on homelessness in Madera County, we're going to have to figure out how we can stop homeless people from migrating into our sloughs in our area and in motorhomes and parking on the side of the road and staying there ad infinitum on private property and on public lands, dumping their sewer, by the way, and doing other things along the way. So the transient homeless situation is out of control. Otherwise, we would have very little homelessness in Madera County, and that's a fact. Another thought that occurs to me in dealing with this situation, and we've dealt with it a lot, from Matt Treber and I and Matt Skolnick, who's my chief of staff, the young man Brandon Medellin, who has gone out and as I identify these sites, I pass them off to him. He coordinates the individuals. The thought has occurred to us as we've all worked together that really coordination between all of the departments needs to happen, because we're duplicating some things and we're doing things over and over and over again. We go out, we tag these sites, and we're working with the sheriff right now. He's got a person dedicated to this, so this is really, really important to the whole process. But you go out and you tag these sites. They have so many hours to get out. We go out, and every time, there is a huge amount of trash and cleanup. And now I'm not talking, a few bags. I'm talking tons of garbage that goes, that has to be picked up and transported to the landfill. And then they move someplace else, and they do the same thing all over again. This has got to be addressed. There's got to be a way to stop this cycle of, environmental damage that keeps going on and community damage. And the angst among people who are dealing with this situation over and over again, like CWD. I work with Brandon Tomlinson regularly on this issue. They are spending thousands of man hours on this issue. It's not fun, and it's really, really out of control. So, yeah, these are some of the things I want to see happen. Along with, I think I've mentioned before that we need to reduce the habitat area in these sloughs, because this is where they're hiding. They want a place to do their thing out of sight and be quiet and get hidden in the brush. Well, we need to take that brush out. It's got to be gone. It's a fire hazard. We're always getting fires from the groups that are in there, and they move from one spot to the other and hide in the brush, and then until we find them again, and then ferret them out. So it's got to change.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Yep.
Any other?
It's just a passionate subject because it's just so costly and.
Any public comment on this? Okay, what's your pleasure, board?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
I hope our consultant was listening to the diatribe.
Okay, now we're gonna
They'll be contacting you.
we're gonna do some public hearings.
Good.
7A, please.
7A, hearing to adopt a resolution amending the groundwater sustainability plan in the Delta Mendota Subbasin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Stephanie Anagnuson, Director of Water and Natural Resources, here with Mike Linden, Deputy County Counsel. The item before you today is an amended groundwater sustainability plan in the Delta Mendota Subbasin, written by the San Joaquin River Exchange contractors. You'll recall the Delta Mendota has a more complicated arrangement than some of our subbasins. It has 23 GSAs and 6 GSP groups, meaning 6 separate GSPs. Like the other plans in the valley, the exchange contractors GSP received a letter from the Department of Water Resources in January detailing potential deficiencies. So what you have in front of you is the fixed plan. Let me go through the deficiencies and how they were fixed. The first one was that the GSPs did not use the same data and methodologies. So you'll recall this was a requirement when you had multiple GSPs. That's why in Madera we had a coordination agreement. So in the Delta Mendota, there is a coordination agreement, but what they've done is beef up a common chapter that all of the GSPs share. They've also added 8 technical memos. The second potential deficiency was that GSPs had not established common definitions for undesirable results. So what they've done over the past 6 months is develop common definitions, and then those filter through in changes in the plan. The third potential deficiency is that they hadn't set sustainable management criteria in accordance with the regulations. They've now revised the plan to make it extra clear that there are agreed upon sustainability goals and minimum thresholds and measurable objectives. And the last deficiency was that the management areas, what was called management areas, were not following all of the rules that you had to have for management areas. So although they are areas in which there is management, they have changed the name of those to monitoring zones in the plan. So 4 potential deficiencies fixed over a 6-month period with the Delta Mendota Coordination Committee. And the plan is ready for you to adopt as an amended plan. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have about process or about the plan itself.
Okay. Mr. Pro Tem.
Couple of questions. So is DWR, have they been helpful in this one, actually saying how to fix it? Because I know that's been an issue in some of the other ones. And are they ready to sign off on this?
Well, I would not say they're ready to sign off on it. They've been, I think, non-committal in meetings. They have given guidance and met with the Delta Mendota group March 7th, March 30th, April 19th, and May 24th. So like in Chowchilla, which is the revision you'll see next week, there have been meetings with DWR, and they've given some guidance and clarified. But I wouldn't say they're ready to sign off it because they want to see the full plan.
Yeah, this seems kind of like they're feeling around in the dark, trying to figure out how these, because there was really very little guidance on how to write these plans from the beginning, just that we had to have one, correct?
I think the big problem with the plans is that most water resources planners look at other acceptable documents to base their document on, and right now we have no acceptable GSPs in the valley. So you're trying to discern with help from technical experts and legal counsel exactly what things mean, and in the next round in a couple of years we'll have acceptable plans. But
And then they find something that someone came up with in a plan, and then it has to be in every plan, but they didn't know it until they saw it in that plan, probably.
I would say this is evolving. Yes.
So then, to that point, with our other 2 plans in Madera and Chowchilla Subbasin, were any of these deficiencies also deficiencies in those? And are we going to be able to apply some of these, like say the common language in terms of beneficial? So are we going to be able to utilize this work towards to our other 2?
Yes, I think we can. These 4 deficiencies are different than the 3 deficiencies you'll see in Chowchilla next week. And we don't have a letter from Madera yet. We're supposed to have one by October. I would anticipate the same sorts of deficiencies that you're seeing in the Delta Mendota and Madera, just because you have multiple GSP groups doing the same work.
Consistent about that, too. Okay, Ben, Bud? Okay, Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, part of the problem too is it's a moving target.
Yes.
And as we alluded to in our last GSA meeting, that you've got groups that are lobbying, and as the groups lobby and find something else they don't like, or have a goal or an objective in mind for their group, then something comes out of that, and suddenly we've got a new deficiency as things pop up. So that's what's happened in many cases, I think.
Well, and I think from our point of view, it's important to get these amended, turned in again, and then move back
Right.
to the important work of groundwater sustainability, because we have a laundry list of things we need to bring before you in the next 6 months.
Right, and I think even though they come up with new things all the time, even though it's a moving target, we're not going to be penalized for the latest thing, that they've developed or whatever. It's just going to be something that, I mean, the whole thing's going to evolve anyway in 5 years. It's going to look different in 5 years than it does now. So it's going to be happening that way. We can't get a sense of angst because we don't have an approved plan yet. It's hard to enforce an unapproved plan. I don't know what you say about that. I don't know how you deal with that, but we can't have a lot of angst about it. At least we're moving in the direction of having something that looks like it may look a little bit better.
And DWR has been very clear that we're supposed to keep following the plan even though it's not approved
Right.
yet.
Right.
Any public comment on this? Close the public hearing, bring it back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, Stephanie. I read this article in SJV Water. And, very good.
That was
Quoted
interesting.
in there a few times, and
Yeah.
you're doing a great job. Mike, thanks for giving us legal advice on this, because this is something that we got to keep tackling. The Fresno Bee had a bunch of it on here. 60% of the California extreme drought or worse. Small farmers versus big carrot, how a water fight is dividing the dusty California valley. So I don't know if you guys seen this or not about it, if you want to look at it. And I'll get it to you, and then we'll go to 7B.
Hearing to adopt a resolution denying the appeal to the Planning Commission's decision to deny conditional use permit 2019-003 for an outdoor event venue, Bassi, Madera.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Treber, Chief of Development Services here today. Also Jamie Bax, CED Director, and Annette Kephart, Planner 3 with the Planning Department. We do have a brief presentation for the board and the public, and then we will be available for any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Matt. Jamie Bax, Community and Economic Development. So I'm going to briefly go over the project and the details of the site. Before you is I apologize, technical difficulties. Before you is a request for an appeal hearing for a conditional use permit 2019-003 that would allow for an outdoor event venue. We did prepare a mitigated negative declaration in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act. Specific items of concerns with mitigation measures included were aesthetics, noise, cultural resources, and transportation. The project is located on the east side of Island Drive, approximately 1.4 miles northeast of its intersection with Road 400 in Madera. The appeal was submitted by the applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Bassi. They are appealing the Planning Commission's decision to deny the conditional use permit 2019-003 to allow for the outdoor event venue. At the May 3rd, 2022 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission did vote to deny the application with a vote of 5-0. Just a brief analysis of the proposal. It does include the outdoor event venue with the use of existing outdoor shade structures, a proposed 1,300 square foot trellis addition, restrooms, and parking on approximately 4.5 acres of a 24.74 acre parcel. Events are proposed from the last week of April through the second week of November from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. 9 a.m. early to allow for vendors to set up, but would vary depending on customers' needs with a maximum of 25 events annually. Events are proposed to have a maximum of 250 attendees, including staff and vendors, and vehicles are estimated at 100 to 150 with maximum attendance. Proposed events are allotted for 6 hours per event. The applicants have stated that they would have same day and or next day, if it were to end late, cleanup at the venue site and along Island Drive. The applicants do reside in their home located at the site and will be in attendance for the events. Professional security is proposed. In addition, proposed access is via Island Drive, which is approximately 1.4 miles northeast of its intersection with Road 400. Water usage associated with the project is proposed via an on-site well. We did circulate the application to internal agencies and external agencies in accordance with CEQA. We did get comments from Caltrans. We did also receive comments in regards to AB 52, which requires us to notify local Native American tribes. And we did receive numerous public letters of concern during that public review process. The comments received did address traffic, road conditions, noise, trash, and intoxicated drivers. At the May 3rd, 2022 Planning Commission meeting, we did present the item. The applicant did speak in favor of the project, and we did have some speaking in opposition to the project, in addition to receiving those comments as well. As mentioned, the Planning Commission did vote to deny the conditional use permit, and that's why you're having a hearing today, is because the applicants have appealed that decision. I'm going to go over a couple of maps here. This is a general plan map showing it does have some different designations of rural residential, ag exclusive, and open space. And also a zoning map shows the majority of the parcel is ARE 20 with some public open space. Briefly, this is an overall site plan which is included in your packet as well. And the next slide will actually show more of those details zoomed in, where you can see the parking area, the existing residence, and the proposed site. This is a trellis shade plan of how that would look. It's an open air structure. Existing structure floor plans for the restrooms. And this is the elevation schematic showing how the existing and proposed structures would look. Staff is recommending that the board uphold the Planning Commission's decision to deny the conditional use permit. We've prepared a resolution in accordance with that. So again, staff is recommending the board adopt a resolution to deny the appeal submitted by the applicant, thereby upholding the Planning Commission's decision denial of the conditional use permit 2019-003. And we're available for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, any questions from the board members? Seeing none, open up to the public. Any from the public for it? Let's start for people that are for the project.
Yep. Chairman, just to clarify, you are opening up the public hearing as well.
Yeah, public hearing too. I'm sorry, I didn't say that, did I? Nope. Anybody want to get up and speak for the project? You got to come up here and say your name and address and all that other good stuff. Good morning.
Good morning.
There's a button right there.
Okay.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Well, they didn't give directions until right now. Good morning. I've been in business here in Madera for about 30 years.
You got to state your name and address.
My name is Greg Mazon. I live at 9682 Road 29. I'm the owner of Mazon Trucking and some other businesses here in Madera. As far as the road conditions, you talk to the road department about that. The road in Madera, all the roads are pretty bad shape, but everybody deals with it. As far as a use for another business coming into Madera, we do need more businesses in Madera, especially an outdoor venue. Due to this nice thing here, COVID-19, I prefer to have an outdoor venue than an indoor venue because you got the air circulating more. And it's going to bring more businesses to the hotels, the gas stations, and whoever else gets hired onto the venue to, make this happen. But the safety is outdoor. Indoor, what happens? Everybody gets sick nowadays. I just came from the hospital. I was in the emergency room. My mom got some kind of other virus. Why? Always indoor. Evidently somebody took something in her house. So I'm recommending that you do approve this, bring more business to Madera. Madera County, Madera City, we need it. Visalia's growing, Tulsa's growing, Fresno's growing. Where is Madera going? I could only make so many businesses here in Madera myself. So with this little business that these people give us, it's going to benefit us, and it's going to open up more doors for everybody else. There's been comments, well, the noise, well, you can't always win the noise over. I mean, that's just part of life. Just like we can't beat this virus, but this outdoor venue is going to help. Because you have hundreds of people in that building, and somebody has COVID-19 or somebody has another virus, you might get sick because you didn't want to be outdoors. The outdoors, fresh air. So I'm recommending that you guys approve this or open up some more venues outdoor, please. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Greg. Next.
Good morning. My name is Gina Moffett, and I support the appeal of the Planning Commission decision against Bossy Ranch. I have had the pleasure of knowing the Bossy family for over a decade. During that time, I witnessed their dedication to our Madera community, both philanthropic and their successful businesses. Allowing them to continue to expand on this new business venture in Madera, it will grow jobs, increase our economy, and tourism from neighboring counties. They are not asking for any handouts. They have invested over $1 million in this venture, which includes new roads that the neighboring properties benefit from. I can personally attest to the fact that they adhere to the county noise ordinance and cleanup, as I have attended nonprofit events that they have held at their facility. The Bossy family is very considerate of their neighbors and surrounding properties. With this being said, I ask you to vote in support of this project and to allow the Bossy family to continue to operate this beautiful facility. I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Gina. Did you sign up there? Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you. Next. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Sonia Estrada, and did you need the address or?
No.
No, okay. So I have known the Bossy family for many years, since grammar school. And let me tell you, they are here in this city to help and build this economy. I have seen them opening up businesses, working so hard for this city. And this venue being, I mean, it's small, but it's so beautiful. I don't know if any of you have gone over there to see it. It's amazing. It's going to bring business in town. It's going to bring it. People want to have a small place to go have their events. It's really, really nice. I wish you guys would all go out there and take a look. This is something good for our city. This is something good for our place. It's one of those things that it's going to help us improve our city. One of the persons ahead of me mentioned Los Baños is so much more nicer in these last few years. I don't really see it in Madera, and honestly, we really do need to bring business and to make our place more beautiful. So I really wish you would consider opening up this place. It's going to bring a lot of business and a lot of beauty into our city. Okay?
Thank you,
So,
Sonia.
thank you.
Next. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair of the Board, Chair and Board of Supervisors. My name is Loretta and my husband, Tajinder Bossy. We have been Madera residents for over 40 years. We have been in business owners and we are the property owners of Island Drive, the proposed venue. We would like to iterate that our vision for the venue is for people of Madera to have a safe and social gathering of friends and family. Memorable moments. It's a beautiful outdoor space that makes memories. Therefore, we hope that you approve our venue. We also like to address the statements of facts on the opposition letters that were submitted, since these are reasons that why the Commissioners Board denied our application. We greatly disagree with the finding accusations and that to us are deplorable and unfounded for the following reasons. Number one, the percentage of opposition letters that you received came from outside the residents of Island Drive and actually beyond the 300 feet of the rule of thumb for the vicinity of Island Drive. Number two, we have never taken any cash profits or money under the table that is, we know we're business owners, that is against the law. And by making that accusation, that's an insult to our character. They accuse us as defamation of character. Number three, Mr. Skin clearly stated that he raised, while he was here on the May 3rd meeting, that he was the one that had lodged a complaint against the venue or against the property on Island Drive with the sheriff department regarding our dwelling and the noise. Well, in your files, you should have a copy of the sheriff department stating back in May 2nd that there was no complaint on Island Drive. Also in this month, July the 18th, there is a second letter from the sheriff department stating that they went back and checked all the records and there has not been one single call to our property, the proposed venue. In there, it does show a different address that they are being cited for. Now, I want to know who's lying. I wish Mr. Poe will have stayed here to determine if Mr. Skin, knowing now that he can make calls anonymous, the sheriff department will still have to find the location. We'll still have to make a record it. We'll still have to put it in writing that there was a call in that. Number four, Mr. Merle had the audacity to question our integrity on many fundraising efforts for the Madera Youth Clubs in some Joachim School. He provided pre-prepared letters. They were already made exclusively with the denying line underneath it to deny our venue, which half of these letters are not off of Island Drive. Again, they're 300 miles plus. We don't know some of these people that signed. We have been nothing but friendly neighbors, and these are deliberate, unfair, unsupportive, and false statements. We see again that this is an insult to our character. He claims that the property values generate desire, he claimed property values and general desire will be impacted. However, there's no proof of it, no evidence, and zero findings. The Planners Commissioner made findings of facts, and they rebuted all this in noise, in desire, in general desire for value of the property. Therefore, I am hoping, please, that you agree with us to find the statements of facts unfair, untrue, and unsupportive. In our conclusion, we want you to know that we have worked hard since 2019 in this project. We have followed county processes, guidelines, field forms, paid permits, and we also agree for the future of Island Drive Road improvements. And if you give us an opportunity to rebound from this COVID, we ask you to allow us to have our outdoor venue, showcasing as well Madera, because it will create and it will generate employment and it will create business, revenues, tax business. Please, I ask you to hear our case and to approve this permit.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your consideration.
Next. Did you want to say something, sir? Yeah. Against? Oh, no, I'm for still. I'm still on the for side. Any else? No more? Any online? Okay, now we'll go against.
My name is Dwayne Doig. I've been a longtime resident of Island Drive, 54 years. It's a beautiful area, a wonderful place, peace and quiet for lovely homes, and very productive agriculture. I think the problems that go with recreation and party zone would create a very detrimental to the existing landowners. Traffic, noise, alcohol, crime, usually and eventually. I don't think it would be good for the existing property owners. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Skeen. I live just north of the driveway in question on Island Drive. The point I want to bring up is the traffic. I don't know how many of you have been out there, but Island Drive is a narrow, very rough agricultural road. And if any of you have been to the access on 145 Road 400, sit there and watch, you would see how much of a traffic jam it is. There have been numerous accidents, people trying to turn left or right onto Island Drive. Many times people have decided to blow straight through off of 145 onto Road 400. And I find it very, very interesting that other than the folks that live there, everybody who's been for this venue doesn't live close by there. I live close by there. I can hear the noise. And yes, I did call the sheriff's department, whether they have it on record or not. It doesn't matter. The amount of traffic coming down that road is going to increase tenfold with these venues. It's a narrow road. I'm sure everybody here has been stuck behind an almond shaker or a tractor with a 12, 14-foot wide implement. You got people that are partying, leaving there. Whether there's alcohol allowed there or not, there's going to be alcohol in the parking lot. It just happens. It is not a safe place to have it. I think they did a beautiful job of what they've done there, but it is not the right location. This idea of coming in and begging for forgiveness after the fact instead of seeking permission beforehand shouldn't be allowed. And it's going to keep happening. It's happening at other venues here in Madera County, and it's going to keep happening. But Island Drive is not a good location for it. Island Drive is a dangerous road. I don't drive more than 35, 40 miles an hour down it. You get people coming and going both directions. You got to pull off on the shoulder. What are you going to do when you have an 18-wheeler loaded with almonds or walnuts or pistachios or grapes? What are we going to do when the cattle rancher that's out there is moving cattle? And how about the cans that get tossed out the window? Sure, they're going to come out and clean up alongside the road, but I know for a fact, because I've done work for them, those cans end up on the other side of the fence. I do not think it is a good location. I'm sorry that these people have put this much money into it, but like I say, begging for forgiveness after the fact instead of asking for permission beforehand is not good. And if you were to go on to 145 coming out of Madera, there is no dedicated left-hand turn lane there. I've seen people get rear-ended there. I've seen people get T-boned there for making that turn. And like I say, people come down 145 and they head straight. It says, do not enter. You're supposed to go up here and turn. But no, they want to go straight right through there. I've seen it numerous times. It's not just cars. I've seen trucks do it. I saw a cattle truck doing it going up to Gill's Corrals up there. I've seen hay trucks do it. I would recommend that this venue not be allowed. It is not the right location. Those of us who live on Island Drive bought our property there, many of us many years ago, for the very reason of having the peace and quiet of living in the country. We don't want the noise. We don't want the excess traffic. And I just don't think it's a good location. And if any of you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them. By the way, I've 40 years experience building roads and doing heavy construction. If you want to fix Island Drive to where it'll handle the traffic, you're looking at approximately $1 million plus per mile. And I know that for a fact. So any questions about why I'm against it, I'd be happy to answer them right now, folks.
We let the public do all their stuff.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wheeler?
We let the public do everything first and we will do afterwards. We
Okay.
won't do nothing now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John. Next. Morning.
Morning. My name's Gary Geist, address 17663 Island Drive. I happen to be the neighboring party that lives to the west of the property that we're talking about, of which Mr. Merrill and myself have the right of way and the easement, own the property that the easement for their access to their property is, which is fine for their use, but I don't always understand why it has to be a commercial use that everyone has to handle. Probably the biggest items I have is a little bit the fact that if we talk about the application where we have no water influence, well, there's quite a bit of water influence that's going to happen there. Number one, when you take a household of 5, whatever the number is, and then you add these 300 people 25 times a year, that's an increase of something about 3.5, 4 times the volume of water required for this facility. And we're already in a problem with water out there to begin with. We talk about the water sustainability all the time. We got a big issue. Same thing comes with the sewage system. And what I might mention is my house is like 270 feet from this facility. And you're going to take that water out, put that sewage in, and contaminate my well, my sewer system. Not at all great for the environment. Another issue is the noise itself. Say what we want. The noise is you can't speak, you can't even talk or have a conversation at my house. Outside, and it's annoying inside. They talk about shutting it off at 11 o'clock. That's not happened for so many times. You haven't got enough fingers and toes to count on it over the last number of years. I personally have spoke with them, talking about let's take a look at how to survive it. And well, I wasn't there. It won't happen again. And next time, the history is not good in my eyes that they're going to contain that kind of environment and shut the noise off. The other one is we got a fire problem right out the back of this that goes right off down into the river that pretty tough to clean up and contain. That once that gets going, you got problems with emergency vehicles getting in there, everything else, public people with cigarettes, whatever, you're going to have a fire problem that won't quit. That's kind of, with all that in mind, besides the roads, I can talk on that too, but you heard a pretty good discussion of roads. You don't need me to comment. Alcohol and cans and sanitation is another issue along the way. So I guess I wish that you deny the permit, and I don't have a problem with Madera County needing something like this, but this isn't the place. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Next.
My name is Anna De Silva, and I live at 17140 Island Drive. We've lived there for 44 years, and prior to that, we lived on the corner of Willis and Sunset in town, and we moved from there after living there for 24 years because the racetracks that happened every Friday and Saturday night, and thought we were going out to the country to have a nice, quiet life. I want to say beforehand that I know the Bassies, and they're very fine people. But I agree with everybody that Island Drive is not the place to have it. On top of this one venue, I get music from 2 others. The traffic on 145, making that left turn onto Island Drive, you pray every time you're waiting there with your left blinker going. And I'm not kidding. It's not easy. And then we have another venue that's going on. They already had 2 in July that's right on 145 between Road 29 and Island Drive. And we have a third one that I hear these 3 from across the river the Fresno River on Raymond Road. And these go on continually all the time. So it's just not one or the Bassies on Island Drive, which is, everybody has already stated, I don't want to repeat Island Drive's condition, but it isn't a good area to have an outdoor venue. And they have been very supportive of Madera through all their other businesses, but it's too bad that this isn't one that we all agree that should be taken place. But maybe someday the board will have to make a decision on all outdoor events one way or the other instead of having one hearing after another on every location.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Roy Mariani. I live at 17137 Island Drive. This appeal would directly impact my residents. I'm here to reiterate my concerns pertaining to this venue. Our current experience with 2 outdoor venues being operated and conducted without permits near our residents gives us credence that the proposed venue truly would be disconcerting. The noise from these venues is unbelievable. We would like to see the venues operate in areas zoned for these events. Our ag area can sometimes cause dust, mechanical noise from harvesting and tractors operating near this proposed venue, and chemical spraying that we have to do in agriculture may cause chemical drift. And we as residents can accommodate these problems. We do not wish to contaminate the public in these venues in any manner at these entertainment values. Thank you.
Thank you. Morning.
Morning. My name is Jim Merrill. I live at 17755 Island Drive and 17737 Island Drive in Madera. Part of the access to the subject property is through my property by easement. I think that there's a challenge here for this board and any succeeding boards, and that will be that you got to settle this issue, not just for the Bossy issue, but for all these venues that are going around right now and will continue to go around with no permits until people come in and complain like we're doing right here, taking up your time. I believe that, that this thing's gotten out of hand and that you need to do something more permanent than just voting against the Bossy appeal. Without it, we'll be here again and again and again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anybody, did you want to speak? Lady that just came in. I guess not. Okay, any online? None? Okay, I'm going to close this public hearing and bring it back to the board. Board member, oh, here we go, Mr. Robb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to weigh in on this. I know many of the people on both sides of the issue. That's what makes these types of decisions very difficult whenever you live in a community like ours. You get to know a lot of people. And certainly, as people have mentioned earlier, they've attested to the character of the Bossies, wonderful people, and great business people and so forth. So that's without a doubt. I'm also very familiar with the properties. I've been on Island Drive on a number of occasions. I've been in events in various homes, as well as the home that the Bossies live in, as well as Geis, not while their parties own the properties, but back in the days when the Latanzios and the Toskis owned those properties. So I know the driveways and proximity and so forth. As Mrs. Silva mentioned, the homes were purchased out in that area for the purpose of privacy, to have a little ranchette, farmette, whatever you want to call it. Some are larger, some are smaller, but to have some elbow room and to have some peace of mind, and not having noise and so forth. The outdoor party venues are actually a relatively new phenomenon. You know, it was, I comment to a lot of people that, gosh, I don't know, 35 years ago, everybody got married in a church. Today, I don't know anybody who gets married in a church, except for Letty.
Yeah.
Letty's going to get married in a church, you know.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. You know, these old barns that were, you know, full of cobwebs and black widow spiders and all that, all of a sudden they're $20,000 to rent, you know, which is interesting.
Chevy chic, right?
Exactly. But they're popular. So this is something that has happened recently, and it's great. I mean, it's, you know, very entrepreneurial, and people want to do that. That's wonderful. But I believe that we do need to be respectful of existing conditions and the original purpose that people bought in areas. And if there's a potential for disturbing the peace, I think that we need to be sensitive to that and the investment that people have made. And based on the testimony, I would be in support of the resolution to deny the appeal.
Okay. Supervisor Pro Tem Frazier.
Yeah, so, I mean, kind of very same to Supervisor Poitras. I've spent a lot of time on Island Drive, driving it. I have a lot of friends in the area on both sides of this argument, too. You know, we've broken bread on both sides. And again, this is what is difficult about local government, when you see your friends and have to make a decision, weigh in on everything. Moving out, you know, everyone has the right to the quiet enjoyment of their home. Some areas are louder than others. You know, I chose to live where people were outside in the front yard and being a little more engaging. I don't want to be as far away, but, you know, you choose where you want to live and how you want to live. And, you know, noise is always going to happen, as was stated on the forest side. But what I can't get past, and the noise, you can deal with it on every once in a while. Really, it comes down to me when making these decisions, is what is safest for the community. Island Drive, a lot of those different roads that are coming on to 145, they're at angles. They need to, even without a commercial business on there, there needs to be a lot of improvements with Caltrans to make those safer for people to make just normal movements on and off, let alone having 100, 150 cars coming in at a certain time. And so, you know, for me, it really boils down to that intersection and that safety of that road to bring people in and out. And so for those reasons, I would second Supervisor Poitras' motion.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, Just to address a few things that were said during the testimony from the hearing, the outdoors is not the issue. Having it outdoors is not an issue. The bossies are not an issue. I'm sure they're very nice people. That's not the issue. As Supervisor Frazier alluded to, the roads, in order to do an event like that, a venue like that with that many cars, you'd have to have road mitigations that allowed the traffic from both directions to move off of the beaten path without interference. So you'd have to have enough mitigation to allow that many cars almost at a given time to safely cross. That isn't going to happen in that location because it was never designed for that purpose. That whole area was not designed for that purpose. This is a residential area. It's a farm area. And a couple of other things that were said really hit home with me. That many people, that many times a year is going to require some kind of commercial sewer operation because that's a lot of sewer. Water use, another issue, but the noise is the main issue. And that when the residents in that area moved into that area, they have the right to live their life in peaceable and quiet means, unimposed upon. I know that we've had a neighbor near my residence that continues to have parties, and they play the music till sometimes after midnight, and it's loud, and you can't sleep, and it becomes very, very bad. These type of venues shouldn't at all be located in residential areas. It's an imposition on on the residents in that area. Has nothing to do with being against entrepreneurial endeavors. I'm fully in favor of people trying to do entrepreneurial things. But there's an old line in real estate: when you invest in real estate and when you're going to do a project, it always comes into play, and it comes into play in this one: location, location, location. So I am definitely opposed to having this in a residential area.
Okay, Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As someone who is currently planning a wedding, this pangs me because we do have limited options here in Madera County. And so I do understand I do understand the economic impacts that this would bring, because it's costing me out of my pocket as well. Us out of our pocket. So I do see the benefits. However, safety is of my concern, and I have driven out in that area, and I've had scares of my own, not to be in that area, but driving out towards, Coarse Gold and whatnot, to the mountain area. And so it's dangerous, and just safety outweighs the economic benefits. So with that, I can't support the approval of this. Oh, I do have one more thing. Sorry.
Any other comments?
Yeah. And
yeah, go
so
ahead.
for staff, this is the second venue, I believe, within the recent history that has been denied by the Planning Commission. So I'd like to see what policies we have in place that bring staff to recommend approval, but then it gets denied by the Planning Commission. So I'd like to take a look at that so that folks aren't investing and spending time and money on this.
Could I address that on the back of that?
Push your button.
Yeah.
I'm not done. No.
I think that's a very important.
She's not done yet.
No,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
joking. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a very important, thank you, very important statement right there. And also, I think we need to look closely at our ordinances to make sure that we are able to stamp out things like this before they get started. In other words, there's a lot of illegal activity out there, people who don't have you see, what we require is a CUP, conditional use permit. That means it's not an ordinary function of that kind of a property. So in order to get that, you're going to have to meet certain qualifications. And these people that are operating these party venues without a license and disturbing their neighbors, I've gotten more calls on these than I do on roads. I've gotten woken up at 2 in the morning and texted over and over again because this goes on. And it's just not acceptable in a residential area. So we need to address that somehow through our ordinances, to make it stronger. And I know the last party venue that happened with, the sheriff visited out there like 5 or 6 times, and they were fined over $4,000, I believe, in the process, and had to pay that fine. I think if people are going to do those kind of things, they're going to have to pay the price because they're really disturbing the peace.
Okay.
So,
thank you. Mr. Frazier, Supervisor. Pro Tem.
We need to have some way, as Mr. Merrill's stated, as Supervisor Gonzalez stated, to show where are these going to be okay? What are is there other areas that have been successful in these? Maybe Paso Robles that has quite a few of these. What kind of zoned areas do them better? Because if we don't have some way that is successful to allow people to do this, because it is something that is needed.
Business.
It's a good business, but if we don't have that, we're going to have a lot more of the illegal ones popping up, right? That are much harder to control than one that's under a CUP, right? One that's under a CUP, that's someone that's doing it the right way. I venture to guess, I know there was the one that was out in this similar area that was illegal. We could never find who to fine or where they were at until we finally. So we need to have a good, solid ordinance that points to how these are going to be successful. What are the mitigations? And on the tail end of this, I'd like to have the parties that are interested on both the for and against side be brought into some roundtable discussions to figure out how to do this successfully.
No, thank you, Mr. Supervisor Frazier and Gonzalez and Rogers and all the supervisors for the comments. Very good points, right? We have looked at creating some flexibility within the ordinance by way of one-time outdoor event permits in ag zoning areas. So those are allowed, and I know the BOSSes have partaken and done those one-time outdoor events that are by right in the ag district. Those are limited to 4 times a year, so very minimal use, but you are correct. We have seen a significant uptick in illegal outdoor events. Those are difficult, right? Because typically they're not happening on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's usually a Friday, 8 to 12, or Saturday or Sundays. It does help. We do partner a lot with the sheriff's office, and it does help when you have some code enforcement officers that are, at least one that's also a reserve deputy, that we can do and cite those illegal operations, but is absolutely something that we will look at. We have other outdoor event permits that are moving through. We have one that's in process now. I would certainly say that it does appear to be tied to the location, as is everything, right? When you have it adjacent or near the residential area, whether it's ag zoned in this instance, everything surrounding this is primarily ag. But when you interject those residents, you create the potential conflicts there that we see. You have successful facilities that are outdoor in similar zoning properties, similar size, but again, they're surrounded without the influx of the residential neighborhood. So every project is different, but we will absolutely look to expand and create some clarification and some buffers, so to speak, within the ordinance to try to drive and give direction to applicants and the public as to the appropriateness and location and neighboring property use and zoning.
We know it can be done because it's like one property in my district, APCAL, very successful, very utilized, and so
Okay.
it can be done.
No more comments? We got a motion from Rob and a second by Brett. I closed the public hearing, and can we have a roll call, please?
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers? Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate it. And move on to item number 8, pending legislation. Any pending legislation, anybody? Mr. CAO?
Not at this time, but I will have something under staff reports, Chairman.
Okay. Any supervisors and staff reports? Mr. Dave?
RHA coming up Thursday at Regional Health Authority.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and attending that, and we did interviews all week for various things, so that was a busy week with interviews, filling positions.
Okay. Brett?
I have my coffee and conversation tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the library or on Zoom.
I have a Washburn Fire briefing tonight at the Oakhurst Community Center at 7 o'clock. It'll be live on Facebook, too, if anybody wants to watch it. Letty?
I will be attending the National Association of Counties Conference. I'm leaving tomorrow to represent Madera County. So
You're going to represent us well.
bring back some great materials for us.
Good. Mr. Rob?
I have nothing to report that is significant.
Okay. Mr. J?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I passed out a copy of a letter that I forwarded on behalf of the county. It has to do with called SURF, which is a statewide program. Our particular region is kind of the usual 4 counties: Madera, Fresno, Kings, and Tulare. At this point, the application that SURF is asking for is due on the 25th. This application period is for granting $5 million to the region to do planning over a 2-year period. So at this point, we're not committed to anything. We're not committed to accepting any money. We're just saying that we would like to participate in our region. The region convener, as it's called in the documents, will be the Central Valley Community Foundation. And so what I passed out to you is just the basics of what SURF is, and then the very basics. So they asked us to be brief, so I was as brief as possible on the letter on the back. And so there'll be a number of community partners from Madera County forwarding their information this week through Carla to eventually the Central Valley Community Foundation for them to submit a grant request on Monday the 25th, and then we'll find out if we're granted the money for planning. At that point, we will bring a presentation back to the board to discuss both the application by Central Valley Community Foundation on behalf of the region and what it means for the county. And that's pretty much the extent of it. Myself, Supervisor Gonzalez, and Supervisor Poitras, and some other staff attended the informational meeting about this on the previous Monday.
Should we on a motion to approve that letter?
I think at this point, you don't need to do a motion on this one.
Good. Regina, any?
There's no report, Chair. Thank you. Nothing to report.
Karen?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Okay, we're going to adjourn this meeting. Thank everybody, and thank staff for the great input today, and we'll go from there. What time is it? 12 o'clock.